All right, ladies and gentlemen, happy Wednesday. I'm going to start today by letting you know that Kanye was right. Kanye was right. Remember back in 2022 when he was a little bit sleepy, right? Poor guy just needed a nap. He just needed a nap. And he told us that when he woke up, he was a little bit sleepy tonight, but when he woke up, he had plans because he was going to go DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. The funny thing is, I can't actually be anti-Semitic because Black people are actually Jew also. You guys have toyed with me and tried to blackball anyone, whoever opposes your agenda. It was too soon, but boy, oh boy, was he right about blackballing people who are opposed to a specific agenda. Because it's now been 2 years, 2 entire years of my life that I have been effectively fighting just to, go on living against the Daily Wire after leaving a job. I mean, 99% of what I have actually gone through, the public knows nothing about. And that has to change. And it's going to change. It's going to change today because I've received even more information about their latest plot against me, jumping into the new year with the old vibes. And frankly, I now find this to be disturbing. I want you guys to take me seriously when I say that there is something about this that is becoming dangerous. And I'm going to explain to you why I feel that way. And I'm going to do that by telling you the true story of how the Daily Wire came to be a company. In other news, and later on in the show, I am going to tell you about a Turning Point Action former employee who has just been sentenced for a crime in Arizona. Of course, he too was hired by Tyler Bowyer because as I have been telling you guys from the very beginning, Tyler Bowyer is the linchpin. He is the person who has been running Turning Point USA. He staffed nearly everyone that was surrounding Charlie, and I think he needs to be investigated more thoroughly. So let's jump right back in. Welcome back to Candace. All right, buckle up, boys and girls, because we are going on a journey. It was yesterday, just yesterday, that we scooped the Daily Wire's cringe news show, designed quite literally with the intention to mock me and Tucker Carlson. It's always got to be Tucker Carlson and Cameron Owens together, like we're partners. Even the typical standard Daily Wire stan accounts had to admit that it was cringe. So cringe that some of them were actually hoping that it was fake, that it was just bait, that the show wasn't real or was not actually happening, or that it was just a segment and I was taking it out of context because no, the company can't actually be this obsessed with a former employee 2 years later. Yeah, but they are. And as I have noted many times to you, they are becoming increasingly so. And for a reason that I am still trying to work through, I mean, honestly, we've all been trying to work through, Charlie Kirk's assassination has catalyzed a certain derangement in Ben Shapiro. Ben was not a friend of Charlie Kirk. So the question is, why? Why is he so obsessed with the Charlie Kirk narrative, or rather obsessed with stopping people from prodding that narrative? As soon as he began, like when Charlie was coming up, as soon as Ben began to perceive Charlie as a threat, which is essentially after the Kanye West tweet, yeah, I love the way Candace Owens thinks tweet, Ben got to work behind the scenes trying to complicate and stop Charlie's rise and my rise. These are just the facts and they are indisputable, okay? What happened thereafter is that Charlie and me, we proved to be inevitable, even pulled apart and in our separate ways. We continued to climb, and we did that without stepping on anybody's head. There are no stories, there are no bodies that are hidden of me intentionally harming people to get where I was going. Well, yesterday when we got off air, we received even more tips, and I'll tell you why. That's because bravery inspires bravery. When people see other people standing up and saying, hey, actually, this is wrong and this is weird, other people go, yeah, that's right. It is weird, and we should all say something. And I would like to again note that the young people who are being manipulated by Ben Shapiro to do his dirty bidding, I don't think that they deserve our ire. I get it. You're young. You have a dream. You have somebody that says, I can make all your dreams come true. And you're game. Some people are going to be game to that. Some people are going to say, yeah, I want to be famous, or yeah, I really need this money. I'm in a pinch, whatever it is. And his strategy is to find Christians and to pressure them, usually through financial means, to go after other Christians when he gets angry in particular. That is another fact. which I can now prove to you thoroughly by reading you one of two emails that we actually received and conversations that we've had. This time, and this email is going to be from another person who was being considered for the role of stalking Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson, because that's what the role was. Of course, while pretending like it's a show. You got to like pretend it's a real thing, but actually we're hiring you to go after Candace Owens. And again, we are going to prove that. Now, to give you a little background here, you will recall that at the end of last year, Ben stepped onto Megyn Kelly's stage while she was on tour, and he demanded her allegiance against me and Tucker. Nobody knows why. She did not submit to him, and I want to be clear that she has been under attack by his stooges since. Okay, Ben is directing that from behind the scenes, all of attacks against Megyn Kelly, because his perspective is that you are either going to take his side when he doesn't like somebody, or you are going to be attacked. Thereafter, Ben quite literally paid money for a prime speaking slot at AmFest, hitting the stage just after Erica Kirk opened, where he again attacked me, he attacked Tucker Carlson, and this time he also attacked Megyn Kelly because she refused to pledge her loyalty to him and his causes, meaning attack who I want you to attack, be my attack dog. And this email is going to illuminate for you guys what took place immediately following that appearance, okay? Again, I'm going to read this email, so give me a second here to pull it up. We're going to skip through or black out the first portion of this email so you can see it because we want to protect some of the names that are in there. It reads, Dear Candace, I believe it was 2 days after Ben Shapiro's speech at AmFest, a producer from the Daily Wire who has been nothing but kind to me reached out. I genuinely cannot describe this in any other way than in panic mode. He said that they had just come up with the show concept the day before, and they were already calling people to audition. He said that they wanted me to audition for a solo show. Immediately, I was ecstatic. It seemed wonderful to get to do something that I love, talking about what I believe in and trying to make a difference. Of course, the idea of opportunities financially and professionally made this seem all the better. It was presented to me as a comedy show to make fun of the right and the left. I said that I loved that, as I try to critique both sides in a lot of what I share. However, immediately, you and Tucker Carlson were brought up. The producer said, quote, so when Candace or Tucker says something crazy, we would want you to make fun of it, end quote. I let him know that I actually like you and Tucker, and I watch you both, as I generally like most conservative political commentators. I said that as a Christian, I wanted to be honest about what I believe and be kind to people, but that I was okay with making light of ideas that I disagree with on both sides. But I did not want to be in a position where I was told what to say. The producer asked me to send in a video audition. He sent the script and an AI video along with it. As to what they wanted me to read, I was baffled. The entire show audition was making fun of you. I will say, though I was not sure about the B theory, it genuinely just felt wrong in my soul to make fun of you. I watch you every day. You genuinely seem like you care so much about the truth and fighting for what is good and right in this world. I texted blank. I asked for advice. She gave me great advice. She told me to reach out to blank. I told blank that I was not comfortable sending in a video as it did not feel true to me. I even tried to rewrite it in a way that was true to me, but I couldn't do it. It just felt like high school bullies. Blank gave me great advice and told me not to even send in the audition tape. I let the producer know that it was not the right fit for me. Attached below is the AI video that they sent me and the text that I sent the producer. And also proof of the call. The producer has been nothing but kind to me, so I would prefer to block out their name. I hope the photos from the studio, dating, the show filming, and the call receipts are enough. I was told not to share the AI video the day after you announced on your show that you knew about the show that they were planning to launch. I let the producer know that I had not leaked that about the show to you. I think I was maybe hoping for more opportunities, but I prayed on it and I realized that I do not need their opportunities. I am simply done. This was such a slimy act by a former employer. This person proceeds to copy and paste the text that they wanted read. So I'm just going to show you the AI video that they sent out to people, to young women, to see if they would audition for this role. Mark, we can actually take this full screen because it's a lot of me. So I don't think we need double me watching me, but this is an AI video sample of the show that Ben wanted sent around following AmFest. Take a listen. There's imminent danger coming. Weird underground bee farmers, like a Polish communist underground symbol.
The evidence is overwhelming. The connections are undeniable.
Hey No-Knowers, welcome back to The More You Know. I'm your host, Gossie Gosworthy. We have some seriously juicy leads today, so let's dig in.
I don't know, but I know.
You know.
Let's just talk about the bees.
And I just sort of went, okay, that's weird. I kept looking online, and strangely, I'm not kidding, and I'm going to show you these messages. I came across what looked to me like a bunch of people talking about bees.
People were talking about bees, but not in a normal way.
They were speaking about bees, but they weren't speaking about bees. It was very coded.
I did a little research on bees. Plus, I've seen hundreds of them in my lifetime.
You're going, case, what do you, like literally bzz, bees.
And here's the part that sticks with me. Bees die when they sting. Kyle Robinson is alive. So how could he be the bee that did the stinging? These are questions people like Ben Shapiro don't want us to ask.
So there you have it. This was not supposed to be a segment. The entire show was supposed to be designed as an attack against me. And they wanted to cast a young person that was willing to lower themselves to do this. And this particular individual who deserves all the credit in the world, actually, for doing the right thing here. And, I spoke with her and I said, look, we're going to block your name. And she said, I've prayed on it. And if you want to reveal my name, I don't really care. And I said, you should reveal your name because you're actually a hero in the story. And she didn't get the job because she went back to them and she wrote and said, I feel uncomfortable doing this. I'm going to show you that text message right now that she sent. Hey, blank, I want to be completely candid. I sat down to film the script that you sent me, but it doesn't feel true to what I really believe in regards to making fun of Candace. I may not be the right fit for this one, which bums me out because I want to work with you guys very much. Thank you very much for the opportunity and for thinking of me. And you think the person would come up and be like, oh no, that was just like one episode. Nope. That's it. Understood. More opportunities down the road. Merry Christmas. It's required. It's required. If we're going to give you a show, we can make you a star. We can make you a star, but you have to be willing to attack Candace Owens. That's what we are casting for. So Maggie did not get the role. Okay. Maggie did not get the role. And I do think Maggie, like I said to you on the phone and you were comfortable with it. You said your name is Maggie Wegner. I hope she gets 3 million followers by the end of this episode across social media. For being a decent human being, that should be enough. You should never have somebody who is casting you to do their dirty work because that's what's happening here. And there's something about this that is just such an act of cowardice to have people go out like they are pawns and pretending that you're doing this because you're interested in doing a show when in reality you just hate Tucker Carlson and Candace. But it's deeper than this, right? The show is cheesy. It's crazy. We've been doing this now for 2 years, but I'm going to explain to you why this is suddenly beginning to feel dangerous to me. When you get to the part where you are coming up with show ideas and casting people as attack dogs that are young and have their whole lives ahead of them and who are talented and can contribute something else. And I was venting about this to my cousin, Mia, Mia, who I just brought with me for no reason for vibes, because she just reads things correctly and she says very little, but she just hits it usually about certain people. And I was venting to her this morning about how wrong this is, like how I feel like I left a cult that I didn't know that I was in. And then she put it so perfectly. I said, feels like I left a gang. And she said, yeah, you got to get jumped to leave a gang. Yeah, actually. You want to leave the Bloods? You want to leave the Crips? Let me tell you how this is going to work. We're going to beat you. Like literally beat you within an inch of your life. That's what it feels like. And I said back to her, I said, yeah, but they've been beating me for 2 years now. 2 years now. And this is feeling increasingly deranged and out of control. So further to that point, I want to let you guys know some more things because there had been a lot of rumor, innuendo, but also a lot of facts surrounding the reasons that I was fired from the Daily Wire. The clearly immoral and impractical stance that I publicly expressed that genocide is always wrong was revealed by Jeremy Boring in that town hall as a reason why I was fired. Also, I said the clearly immoral, I had the clearly immoral position that, quote, pornography is harming men. That was another reason that was expressed by then CEO Jeremy in the company-wide town slave hanging that was hosted because for some utterly deranged reason that seemed to be an appropriate way to punish me in front of my peers. But another reason that I was fired was because I insinuated in an episode that I had done while I was at the Daily Wire, when I was speaking about Michael Jackson, that it's plausible that Hollywood is being run by a gang. I'm sorry. Why is that a fireable offense? Why is it a fireable offense? Actually, factually speaking, Hollywood was started by gangs. Yes, there were Jewish mafiosos, bootleggers. So why is it totally beyond the realm of possibility that it's still being run by a gang? And why would somebody be fired for saying that? In fact, being fired for merely surmising that it's possible only leads me to believe that it most definitely is being run by a gang. And that maybe that's the point of what Michael Jackson, Britney Spears, Kanye West, Justin Bieber, too many others have been trying to get across to us. Even Justin Baldoni, actually, when I read the lawsuit and I realized they were trying to stage a hostile takeover of the rights to his movie. That's it. Everything else was noise. They said, we want this. And they sent out Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively to go and get it. That's what I actually believe happened in a nutshell. That was what the Justin Baldoni case was about. And if it is a gang, an entertainment gang, if you will, that I and Charlie Kirk both unwittingly signed ourselves up for, it allowed me to express that I have been getting jumped out for the last 2 years. And Charlie Kirk, well, guess what? He wasn't so lucky. He's dead now. He's dead now. When he wanted out, he was killed. And Ben Shapiro's behavior since Charlie Kirk's assassination leads me to believe that he may know more than the public knows about Charlie Kirk's death. That's how I deeply feel. I feel that in my soul. He's behaving as though Charlie's company was promised to him 3,000 years ago, okay? Like he assumed that he would somehow benefit off of his death, and I'm getting in the way of that somehow. And by the way, if he did benefit from Charlie's death, it would not be the first time. In fact, it wouldn't be the first time at all that Ben Shapiro sought to pervert the legacy of a dead man to his own benefit. What am I talking about? Yeah, I'm talking about what Ben Shapiro did before he started the Daily Wire. Now, I know that I played this clip for you guys before, but I want to play it again and then to tell you the story that I know about it, because I think it'll probably sicken you. It's a clip of Steve Bannon, first and foremost, telling the audience at AmFest in response to Ben Shapiro screaming about everybody. Steve Bannon gets up and he replies, and he tells the truth about Ben Shapiro because he knows Ben Shapiro from Breitbart. And no matter what you think about Steve Bannon, he's always been very good to me. I can confirm to you what he is about to share on this stage is absolute truth. Take a listen.
But Ben Shapiro is like a cancer, and that cancer spreads. It's a cancer and it metastasizes. He tried to take over Breitbart and I ran him out of there. He tried to take over David Horowitz's, who was his mentor. Don't ask me. Ask the guys associated with David Horowitz what he did there. He tried to take that over. And mark my word, he will make a move on Turning Point because he's always been envious of Charlie Kirk.
Fact. He has always been envious of Charlie Kirk. Fact. The story about what he did at Breitbart is a lot darker than anybody could possibly know. Well, you're all about to know it right now. And yeah, he's tried to take over a lot of companies hostily, including mine before it even got started via lawsuit. Just going to bankrupt us before we could even get started after you fired me. Just trying to squeeze us so that we didn't even have an out. What has he been talking about? Really? Well, publicly, Ben has represented himself as having been mentored by Andrew Breitbart. Ben loved Andrew Breitbart, ostensibly, right? No. Ben's a parasite. He's a worm. I meant that. He sees health and he believes that it belongs to him. His trade is not commentary. It's not politics. It's theft. And in the case of Andrew Breitbart, he behaves like a maggot on a corpse, like he's doing right now with Charlie Kirk. It was March 1st of 2012 when Andrew Breitbart dropped dead from an apparent heart attack. I am saying apparent because it's actually another mysterious political death, which, by the way, in your own time, you should look into that, okay? Because Andrew Breitbart was a powerhouse. He was in his prime, just 43. And suddenly, He's starting to step on some toes, saying he has some information. Next thing you know, he's dead. Again, allegedly a heart attack, but something funny happened. A lot of funny things actually happened surrounding his death. The first and foremost utterly corrupt Los Angeles coroner's office conducted an autopsy because people were thinking, was he killed? Can you determine whether or not there was foul play here? But things went a little sideways when a forensic technician that was involved with the autopsy also wound up dead from military-grade arsenic poisoning. I kid you not. His name was Michael Cormier. He was 61 years old. And for whatever reason, he decided after being involved with this autopsy to ingest military-grade arsenic poisoning. And his wife says, no, that's not what he wouldn't just poison himself with military-grade arsenic poisoning. But who knows, guys? Just weird stuff tends to happen, particularly in Los Angeles. Whether you're talking about Michael Jackson, for those of you who had read Chaos, we know what this is all about. They control everything there. But enough about that, because we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. There's no evidence of foul play ever, according to the media. Ever. It's always a lone gunman, some arsenic poisoning, and heart attack, a well-timed heart attack or whatever. If you haven't yet worked out regarding the media, they're a part of the gang, I think. It's feeling that way. Back to Andrew Breitbart. It's also another coincidence. But just 2 weeks before he died, Andrew hired a then 28-year-old Ben Shapiro to be the editor-at-large of Breitbart. Now, if Ben is to be believed, Andrew had known him since he was just 17 years old. Andrew had mentored Ben, but he didn't hire him to work at Breitbart until he was 28. And then 2 weeks later, Andrew Breitbart drops dead. And what happened next is exactly as Steve Bannon describes. There was an internal war that waged about what the direction of this healthy conservative company would be. Ben felt this company perhaps was also promised to him 3,000 years ago or something, because what happens next is pretty twisted. And to be clear, what I'm about to share with you, it's not innuendo. The story was not told to me from a third party, 3 other people. This story was directly told to me and Charlie Kirk. We were in New Mexico at a corporate retreat, and we heard it straight from the chiefs at Breitbart. Charlie and I were venting about how difficult Ben was making it for us. And a chief shared with us the true story of how Ben started the Daily Wire on Scandal. Do you guys remember Michelle Fields? That story of 2016? If you don't worry, I'm going to remind you. The story goes that Donald Trump was running for president against Hillary Clinton, and he chose Corey Lewandowski to be his campaign manager. And the whole media was against Donald Trump, except for Breitbart. They were going, yeah, this guy's, he's our guy. And because of that, because they had banked on how people were feeling in this country, because they had banked in the populist movement, they were exploding. They were huge. Anyways, Corey Lewandowski is a campaign manager, and suddenly news breaks that Corey Lewandowski apparently assaulted a reporter that was working at Breitbart, Michelle Fields, at an event. So Michelle Fields comes out and says that this happened. She even shows bruises, right? Do we have the photo of the bruises that this happened to her? Because, oh, that's it. You know, to think about how Trump treats women. And yeah, now we got to look at this organization that she works for, the only conservative organization that's standing behind Donald Trump. Are you still going to stand behind him, Breitbart? Are you still going to, he's assaulted one of your reporters. And they didn't make an immediate comment on it because, well, it was just an allegation that she made, and Ben didn't like that. And now he had this scandal regarding the assault. He didn't like Trump, and now he had the scandal. And because they didn't make a statement in support of their employee, which was like, this was kind of like Me Too before it became a hashtag the following year. A woman makes an allegation. There's demands for a company to stand behind her. But this particular company wanted to investigate the claims further, not on Ben's watch. So on March 13th, 2016, Ben and Michelle Fields doubly decided that they were going to leave Breitbart in a glorious public statement that they would both make. Ben made a glorious one about the values of Andrew Breitbart, his dear friend, that were now His values have been violated. We're going to read the statement here. As a close personal friend and mentee of Andrew Breitbart's, it saddens me tremendously to announce that as of 9:00 p.m. Pacific time, I have resigned from Breitbart News as editor-at-large. I met Andrew when I was 17 years old and remained his friend until his tragic death. I signed on with Breitbart News 2 weeks before Andrew's death because I believed in his mission. I am proud of what we have accomplished in the years following his death, fighting back against the leftist media and debunking the left's key narratives. I have many good friends at Breitbart News, including the editor-in-chief, Alex Marlow, and editor-at-large, John Nolt. And I admire CEO Larry Solov for his dedication to ensuring a financial future for Andrew's widow, Susie, and his 4 children. Andrew built his life and career on one mission, fight the bullies. But Andrew's life mission has been betrayed. Indeed, Breitbart News, under the chairmanship of Steve Bannon, has put a stake through the heart of Andrew's legacy. In my opinion, Steve Bannon is a bully, and he has sold out Andrew's mission in order to back another bully, Donald Trump. He has shaped the company into Trump's personal Pravda. Ironic there. To the extent that he abandoned and undercut his own reporter, Breitbart News' Michelle Fields, in order to protect Trump's bully campaign manager, Corey Lewandowski, who allegedly assaulted Michelle. I spoke with Michelle the night after the incident. She told me her story. That story was backed by audio tape, eyewitness testimony from the Washington Post's Ben Terrace, physical bruises, and a videotape. Both Lewandowski and Trump maligned Michelle in the most repulsive fashion. Meanwhile, Breitbart News not only stood by and did nothing outside of tepidly asking for an apology, they then attempted to abandon Michelle by silencing staff from tweeting or talking about the issue. Finally, in the ultimate indignity, they undermined Michelle completely by running a poorly evidenced conspiracy theory as their lead story, in which Michelle and Terrace had somehow misidentified Lewandowski. This is disgusting. Andrew never would have stood for it. No news outlet would stand for it. Nobody should. This truly breaks my heart. But as I'm fond of saying, facts don't care about your feelings, and the facts are undeniable. Breitbart News has become precisely the reverse of what Andrew would have wanted. Steve Bannon and those who follow his lead should be ashamed of themselves. So you get it. He's moral. It's a scandal, but he's moral. And the very next day, he then promotes the Daily Wire. And guess what? It worked. A bunch of people left Breitbart News and stopped watching Breitbart News and followed Daily Wire. This is going to be principled conservatism. They're not going to stand behind bullies, and they're going to stand up for their employees. Get it? Of course, the truth is a very different story. What it really happened, again, told to me first person by the executives over at Breitbart News. What really happened was that Ben had been not happy with the fact that they were not making him the king of Breitbart, had begun quietly building Daily Wire at the end of 2015, but didn't have enough gumption behind it. People were not getting behind the Daily Wire in the way that they anticipated, so they needed a scandal, okay? And they decided to do that. They decided to create a scandal because there was no energy behind it. So he and his best friend, Jamie Weinstein, decided to cook up a scandal. And if you're wondering who Jamie Weinstein is, he's a political journalist. He's a podcaster. At that time, I believe he was working for the National Review, which is Neocon Central. But the more relevant fact that was told to me is that Jamie Weinstein is Michelle Fields' husband. So the public was led to believe that they were drumming up all of this controversy because this woman, which was later proved that her bruises could not have been from Corey Lewandowski, because the bruises that she showed were not where Corey Lewandowski, when the tape finally got released, where he touched her. By then, the damage had been done to Breitbart. They never recovered, by the way. Breitbart never recovered from this scandal that was allegedly manufactured by Ben Shapiro and his friend Jamie Weinstein to attack at the time, very conservative movement and to turn it into Neocon Central. It's a lot like what it feels we are examining with Turning Point USA right now. Like the person who was at the head of that company, the person that believed in our principles and believed in free speech, is now dead, and neocons are staging a hostile takeover of his legacy and of his brand. And I'm saying no to that. I'm saying that this cannot happen. I am actually maybe taking a page out of Ben's book and standing up to the actual bullies who have been operating behind the scenes and going after people. And quite literally, the very person who blackballed me through his contact list, having donors put pressure on Charlie Kirk, because that's how he moves. When you see these messages, what he did after AmFest, make a show, anything, make it happen, make it seem like it's a show, but attack Candace, that is the true Ben Shapiro. And like I said, these are not the only companies he has gone after. He is telling you the truth about what happened with David Horowitz's Freedom Center, me, the Babylon Bee. It's all about taking over healthy companies when they're in their prime and just pretending like your growth is organic. And yeah, they're behaving like a gang. And I'm serious. I'm coming to you guys in earnest when I say that there is something that feels dangerous about this. Like he is growing increasingly more unhinged and more focused on me, more focused on stopping me. And it can't happen. It cannot happen. So I'm not going to allow it to happen. I'm going to tell you guys the truth about what's going on behind the scenes. I have basically said we need to take real action against him. Nobody should have to go through this, whether they are artists in Hollywood. Now, I understand why Kanye, after he burned everything to the ground, said to me, I feel like I'm finally free, because it is exactly like leaving a gang that you had no idea you were pledging, okay? I never wanted to be in a gang in my youth. I certainly never wanted to join a gang as an adult. I want to be on a microphone and share with people my ideas and speak about things that I care about and speak about people that I care about. People like Charlie Kirk, who is my friend, Ben, never was yours. You know he was never your friend. You know that you never liked him. Stop. What you are doing actually is despicable. At least you can pretend you were Andrew Breitbart's friend. And as the person said to me at Breitbart, you are truly an evil human being because Andrew loved you and you moved to take food out of his son's mouth by destroying the company that he built. None of this is normal. I want to say that as well. None of this is normal. I want you guys to know that if you wake up today and you decide to quit your job, your employer should not stalk you for 2 years. It shouldn't happen. They shouldn't be following you, chasing you in the courtroom from every infraction, trying to bankrupt you, calling people, reaching out to donors, trying to stop business relationships, getting in the way of sponsorships. None of this is normal, but I am afraid, I believe that this is indeed how the world works. I don't believe that these people that have platforms are smarter than you. Guys, I don't believe that they have better business wit than you do. I think they're more evil than you. That's what I believe. I think they are willing to do things that most of us are just prevented from doing because we have a human soul. We don't want to harm people. We don't want to lie. We don't want to steal. We don't want to cheat. We don't want to hostilely take over businesses, right? Our stomach does something. The idea of getting up and giving a speech in an auditorium, in a room filled with people, when somebody dies, somebody that you tried to prevent from having that success, as human beings, we go, ooh, that doesn't feel, I don't want to do that, right? Like I would never have the audacity to, God forbid, if something happened to someone that I don't like Barry Weiss, I would never say, I couldn't imagine like just doing the fake thing and getting up and like, I want to pay to open and speak about Barry Weiss. I loved her so much as a human being. That would disturb me, being that fraudulent. But it doesn't with Ben. And that's why I think he's a scary dude. Yeah, because he's missing that chip. I asked myself, that is my question, Ben, what the hell happened to you as a kid? Something's wrong with you. What the hell happened to you as a child? And you know what I think the answer is, actually? I think the answer is nothing. Nothing happened to you. You just silver spoon in your mouth, never had to work for anything, and were told that the whole world is yours because you're born chosen and you can take whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. You can be a bad person. You've got lawyers, you've got money, you've got people that behave like gangsters that will make it all go away. I think precisely what happened to you is nothing. And that is what has fashioned you into this belly creature that we see today. Enough is enough. Leave me alone. We'll be back after a break. So I think it's pretty obvious that there is a war on truth right now. You feel it, I feel it. And the biggest weapon that they have is the algorithm, rewriting history and redefining morality to fit a broken secular agenda that has completely erased God from the conversation. That's why I actually use Magisterium AI, because this is not about abstract history. This is about how to live. I'm talking about the toughest questions that you face, questions about suffering, marriage, and purpose in life. And unlike the other AI that's out there, Magisterium AI actually brings the receipts, meaning every single answer that is backed by original sources, citations that you can click and verify for yourself. It's built on a knowledge base that grows daily from their exclusive digitization work inside the Pontifical Universities in Rome. It's the #1 Catholic answer engine in the world for a reason, because if you want to discover the intellectual depth and the peace that I have found in the Catholic faith, you can start here. So go to magisterium.com/Candace or download the app for free on iOS or Android. You can use my discount code Candace to upgrade to Pro, and you'll get 25% off your first year. That's $2.99 per month for peace and purpose for the price of a cup of coffee. It's a no-brainer. Visit magisterium.com/Candace. Also, going to tell you guys about Nimi, because when it comes to skincare, Nimi Skincare is what I have chosen to keep things simple. I think a lot of people end up frustrated with skincare because they're constantly being told that they need more products, more steps, more explanations. And when everything feels overcomplicated as it is, people stop being consistent. I don't approach it that way. I use Nimi because it's clean, it's straightforward, and it's easy. Very easy to stick with. Simplicity does matter, especially in January when people are trying to reset everything all at once. Winter is already pretty tough on your skin, cold air, dry heat, all of it adds up. That's not the time to experiment. It's time to take care of what you already have. Nimi Skincare is made here in the USA, and it's built around that same idea of intentional simplicity. It doesn't chase trends or try to impress you. It just works and it keeps things grounded. You can learn more at Nimi Skincare. That's Nimi Skincare.com. And if you want to use my code for additional discounts, it's Candace10. Again, NIMIskincare.com, promo code Candace10. So I'll go ahead and take the baton from Kanye, because he might still be napping. We don't even know. He never got to express himself more fully before the world had a breakdown and pretended like he had, I don't know, murdered a bunch of Palestinian children. What he was actually expressing was that people were behaving like they were in a mafia. That's what he was going through. That's what I am living through, that people are organizing like they are quite literally in a mafia to try to destroy my life. And their goal is to emotionally break you, to make you psych 5150 you like they did to Britney, right? To get you on drugs like they do to a lot of people that are in Hollywood. They get them addicted to drugs so that they can control them, to catch you in a compromised situation, to threaten to take your children away. These are their tactics to be able to control virtually everything, right? That's what they want. They don't want to see a company rise that they don't have a leg in, because they want to influence the masses. That's the reality. And that is why I am now understanding they are obsessed with me and Tucker. Why can't you just disagree with us? That is why they are now turning to Megyn Kelly in the same way, with the same viciousness. A funny story, actually, about that DEFCON 3 tweet. I don't know what happened. I don't even know what time night it was that inspired him to put out that tweet. What I can tell you is that tweet cost me many millions of dollars, okay? I was not with Kanye when he tweeted it. I did not retweet Kanye. I did not did not push a like when Kanye tweeted it. But I sure as hell got peer pressured and employer pressure to put out a statement against Kanye. It's not amazing. Just in retrospect, it's amazing, because it's like, how about you put out a statement against Bibi Netanyahu? I don't know. He's like a stone cold killer. He's mass murdering children. How about you put out an effing statement against Bibi Netanyahu? But no, the pressure came in, and I had just signed a larger deal with the Daily Wire for years. And I got brought into a conference room. The entire world condemned Kanye West. The entire world. I mean, it felt like the entire world. He lost his Adidas contract. He lost his Gap contract. That wasn't enough, because they wanted me to do it, right? Because there's an element, if you're about sadistic, it's not enough to have your wife, your in-laws, your friends, your former friends, people that you've done music with, people that you've helped up, the whole world come out and condemn you. It's not enough to take the money away from you. We're going to need Candace Owens to do it too. And I said no. I said, I'm not going to come out and condemn Kanye, because I wasn't there. I didn't do anything, and I don't think that's necessary. I think he's going through enough. He's my friend. That's what I said. Then I got yelled at and voices were raised. It was like, why won't you just make a statement to make it easy for us to say something against Kanye, this relationship, blah, 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 blah. And I said no. And they said, okay, well, then here's what we're going to do. We're going to change the contract. and instead of being paid X amount of years, you are going to only get this. Are you willing to do that? I said, yeah, I'm willing to lose the money, take the money, obviously, because he's my friend. And I will never forget the words that I said in that conference room to Jeremy Boring, because it's so true today. And I feel so good about myself that I cannot be purchased. I said, most of the world considers me to be a formidable enemy. But actually, the reality is I'm a very formidable friend. And that's how I'd like to be remembered, as a formidable friend. And I said, one day you might need me as a formidable friend. And that was that. And you know what? Fast forward, and it looks like the person who actually is needing me as a formidable friend is Charlie Kirk. And I am a formidable friend, and he knew I was a formidable friend. And they are learning that lesson, that I am deadly serious on that topic of defending my friends, their honor. If they're going through something, if I have something to say to Kanye, okay, it's not Judas culture. I don't just hang him out to dry because everybody else is doing it and it's fashionable. And you can't tempt people with millions to do something like that. That's despicable. That's despicable. Anyways, it is especially hilarious to me that this whole strategy seems to be mocking me for having a dream that Charlie was betrayed. That's the joke, right? That's the in the no joke. It's a dream. It's a vibe. It's a vision. It's hilarious because it's ironic. It proves that these people literally had no meaningful relationship with Charlie Kirk himself. Charlie was the king of dreams. It's insane how many messages I have with Charlie Kirk about his dreams. He believed his dreams. You guys have no idea. The vivid dreams. I've only showed you one of the text messages. Since he was a kid, he had those dreams, by the way. And last year, I was like going through a lot, reading back through our text exchanges. I'll be honest with you, it was kind of scary. I did consult a priest. I felt like I needed spiritual guidance because I don't know everything. I don't know how the world works. How was I supposed to suddenly then contend, not just with his murder, but contend with having to read so many messages, so many precise messages of Charlie so convinced that he was going to die young. Like just telling me that repeatedly, he was going to die young. And that turning point was going to be involved, as I showed you. And there was more. And a lot of that still disturbs me. Messages that I found, for one, that didn't register to me as weird then, but one message that I found was Charlie writing to me, like I'm not allowed to go anywhere without security. In retrospect, why? It was Schaefer security, where Dan Flood came out of, and Brian Harpole. I have the text about that. Charlie was not allowed to go anywhere without security. I want you guys to remember, this was not when Charlie was well known. I was not well known. Charlie was not well known. Turning Point was in its infancy, didn't have its big blow up money, didn't have that kind of money at all. And yet already he was not allowed to go anywhere without security. I find that to be odd. Then there was this older man, an older Jewish man that he was seeing for spiritual reasons. And he was an older guy that was from Chicago. And Charlie and him, if memory serves correct, met through whatever special X-Men school, gifted school for the gifted that Charlie had to attend. Like he was matched with Charlie somehow through that school. And Charlie would open up a lot to this particular man about his vivid dreams, about I keep dreaming I'm going to die, I'm going to die, I'm going to die. And I don't know how he got assigned to this man, but I do know that also Charlie would say this guy is like the Oracle. He also has dreams. Quite literally, Charlie uses that word. He's like, he also has dreams, and I've met him, and like he is someone that wants to meet you. That's what Charlie told me. I promise you, I'm telling you the truth. I'm going to show you this. Anyway, the point is that when Charlie and I got together before things blew up with the Kanye tweet, this man who Charlie would go see to discuss these intense visions that he was having about his death, this man didn't dissuade Charlie. He wasn't like, oh, like I was saying, like, oh, you're just probably need some sleep. Oh, you're just nervous. You're just excited. This guy pretty much all but confirmed to Charlie that he was going to die. He wouldn't tell him how. And he told him, like, but your death will save humanity. This was in 2018, early 2018, okay? So I wasn't taking much of this conversation too seriously. Like, I just didn't really know what to really make of it. But this man, he also expressed to Charlie a lot of interest in me and Charlie's friendship. And it was like a movie. Charlie had expressed to him that he felt, which I showed you guys, that he was like a time traveler and he had to come back and he had to find me for some reason. And then that man explained to him that we were all prisms of light, and that certain prisms of light were meant to refract and others were not meant to refract, and that Charlie and I were refracting. Anyways, I'm telling you this. I have a text message to back this up, but also that Charlie's life was going to be short. I'm going to show you this message because I read these things. I don't know what to make of them other than LOL to anybody laughing at my dream, okay? Charlie wrote, he won't tell you what he saw. He hasn't told me intentionally, just that I'm there and it's bad. And then he says, so the dreams I get, and then he sends me sometimes a lot of darkness. He says that I'm being shaped for a time to save humanity. It's just so crazy to me to read back on this and how many times we would have this discussion about Charlie telling me he was going to die young and that he was going to save humanity. It's just so bizarre. And then constantly telling me the next step, like I would have to defend him. There are so many messages like this. And again, the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because it's such a nonsense. And it is so ironic to have people then mock me for saying that I had a dream. And I feel as strongly about the dream that I had, that Charlie was betrayed by people closest to him. Like nothing could stop Charlie from believing that he was going to die and that I would stand up for him. Nothing you can say, no jokes you can make, no shows you can no right, that is going to pull me away from the feeling, the knowing. It is so deep. It is a knowing. It's not even a feeling. It's a knowing. It's not a dream to me. It's like a prophecy. It's like Charlie was betrayed. I don't know what else to say to you. And I hope I give you guys the permission to believe in something like that. You know, this whole world, I feel like, is designed to make us not believe in ourselves. And I think that's something that Kanye used to say a lot too. Like they want you to follow the crowd. You can't sit with us. We're the cool kids, right? The cool kids all listen to this person. They all wear this color. Oh, the cool kids don't pay any mind when they have a very vivid dream. And Charlie in the dream says he was betrayed. Oh, the cool, that's so, it's not cool. I'm not trying to be cool. I just want everybody to know that I am not trying to be cool. I'm trying to get to the bottom of who killed Charlie Kirk. And I intend to do that. I'm trying to get to the bottom of what the hell this situation has to do with Ben Shapiro. And I intend to do that. What is making Ben Shapiro nervous? Why am I being mocked for trying to figure out what happened to my friend? Why does it feel like I'm the only person who actually cares? The whole world knows that we're being lied to about what happened on September 10th, and yet the entire gang media apparatus is trying to convince us that that isn't so. No, that isn't. It's just not tracking. None of this is tracking. And I just know that this is bigger than me, that something very sinister happened, and that more bad things will happen if we don't get to the bottom of what exactly took place on September 10th. That's how I feel. Make fun of that. Sure, it's a vibe, and I'm gonna ride that vibe. Anyways, further to that point, I had told you guys at the top, this is interesting because I had just started cracking into this narrative of Tyler Bowyer yesterday. And I had shared with you guys that he put everybody around Charlie. It's just a fact. It is. I was there. Tyler's the guy, and he's a bad dude. He is. And so it is pretty rich that this headline ran yesterday about an ex-Arizona lawmaker who's questioned election integrity is now being sentenced for using forged signatures. Now, I was telling you at the same time, Tyler's got his hand in Arizona politics. He's also pulling Charlie and helping to build Turning Point USA. And one person told me on record that he would also offer bribes to people, like, I'll get you a job at Turning Point USA if you do this for me. I'll say allegedly, but I have it in writing that this person is saying that he was offered a job from Tyler Bowyer. So the real world of politics and this 501c3, they were being connected. Turning Point USA was being connected, and Turning Point Action is who this former Republican lawmaker ended up working for. The article goes on to say that a former Republican lawmaker who questioned the integrity of Arizona's elections and served as a leader for the conservative group Turning Point Action is scheduled to be sentenced Tuesday for using nominating petitions that contained forged signatures in a bid to qualify for a 2024 primary election. This person is Austin Smith. He's 30. He pled guilty in mid-November to charges of attempted fraudulent schemes and practices and illegal signing of election petitions. He had acknowledged trying to use petitions with forged signatures that he knew were false, plus forging a dead woman's signature on a nominating petition. Smith represented an Arizona House district in the Phoenix suburbs for one term before dropping his reelection bid in 2024 when questions arose about signatures on his nominating petitions. He resigned at that time, so this was happening while he was at Turning Point Action, the campaign arm of Turning Point USA, which has become a major force in Arizona Republican politics. This is a kind of article that you should pay attention to because it is further certifying what I am telling you, okay? Tyler Bowyer needs to be looked at and investigated further. And yes, how dare you question his friend? Well, people who commit crimes are open to committing crimes. I don't know what to say. I've been around. I've seen some stuff, okay? If you're willing to commit fraud, if you're willing to use a dead person's signature to further your career, you're probably not against doing that everywhere you work. I don't know. Turning Point Action seems to be problematic. One of the early tips that we got from somebody inside of Turning Point USA was that a lot of money was missing from Turning Point Action. I'm still working to confirm that. I have another strong lead. But that money specifically was missing from Turning Point Action. And we know Charlie was establishing this Doge. So yeah, where there's smoke, there tends to be fire. And we all have the sense that this is more than just smoke. It's like we're watching a house of cards collapse in real time. And I sense that a lot of people are going to be exposed, and that despite all the attacks that I'm going through, that at the end of the day, daylight is going to be the best disinfectant, and people are going to see that we were right, all of us, that all of us are right in the feeling that we have about this organization, and that we don't have to keep pretending, or I guess some of you guys were not pretending at all, but like we shouldn't pretend that anything that we're seeing is normal. I think Charlie found something out about his organization very shortly before he died. And I think every day we are inching closer to determining what that something actually is. So I'm sorry that I had to dedicate this show not to further telling you more things that we discovered about Turning Point USA, but I wanted to fully respond to Ben Shapiro because I think that too is a piece of this. Like I've said, he's making me uneasy, and no one should have to live through what I have lived through over the last 2 years. I didn't want to be in a gang when I was younger. I did not want to be in a gang when I was older. And I don't like gang tactics, and that's exactly what this is. These are gang tactics. The fact that I have been effectively blindfolded, prevented from joining or competing in the free markets in a fair way. These certainly were not free markets at all. Restricting me in where I could speak, banned from Australia, having our YouTube channel demonetized, people calling our sponsors. I've basically had to enter into this fight like blinded, muted, and with my hands tied behind my back, and I'm still winning. I'm winning because I've committed myself to truth, not to money. I've never cared about money. I've always made that clear. I don't care about money, and that's why I turned down millions to say something about Kanye West. I care about truth, and I care about doing what's right. And yeah, that's what I want to say about that. We'll take a brief break before I answer some of your questions. If your credit card balance is freaking you out after all the holiday spending, I have something that can save you money right now. You can cut your cell phone bill in half by switching to PureTalk's Saver Plan. For just $20 a month for unlimited talk, text, and 3 gigs of high-speed data on PureTalk's superfast nationwide 5G network. And as a veteran-led company who cares about giving back to those who serve, if you're active or you're a former military or a first responder, you'll save an additional 20% every single month. The easiest way to free up cash flow is to reduce your monthly recurring bills. You can start with cutting overpriced wireless and switching to my wireless company instead. Head to puretalk.com/Owens and make the switch today in as little as 10 minutes. Again, talk, text, and data for just $20 a month. That's puretalk.com/Owens, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Also want to tell you guys about American Financing because between groceries, travel, and higher prices, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, especially if you're already relying on credit cards as it is to cover the basics. If that debt is piling up, you should know that you're not alone. If you're a homeowner, you might have considered reaching out to American Financing, but maybe hesitated because you don't want to give up your low mortgage rate. Well, that's why American Financing created the Smart Equity Loan, a simple, smart way to get your finances back on track without giving up your low mortgage rate. Unlike a HELOC, which can fluctuate with the market, the Smart Equity Loan offers a fixed rate, so you'll have one predictable monthly payment. It lets you use your home's equity to pay off high-interest debt, free up your cash flow, and still keep your existing mortgage intact. There are no upfront fees to find out if you qualify. So call 800-795-1210. Again, that's 800-795-1210, or visit americanfinancing.net/Owens. Again, that's americanfinancing.net/Owens. Getting a lot of comments, people asking for Maggie's socials, and I'm going to give you, this is her Instagram page. It's Mags Wegner, Maggs. Wegner is spelled Wegner. And I would love everyone who watches this to go give her a follow. I think goodness has to win. Goodness has to win. And I would have never known this person. I had no idea that she just did the right thing and said, hey, I don't feel comfortable doing this. And what I said to her was, you will be rewarded for it. It's the tougher decision in the moment is usually the decision that you're rewarded for in the end. It's always, that's kind of been the story of my life for sure. Making the right decision not to attack my friends, making the right decision to say, hey, what Israel's doing to the Palestinians is wrong. And you can be maimed, you can be caricatured, you can miss out on a job, you could be banned from Australia. But I think God takes care of you in the end. And I'm glad that she followed her Christian heart there, man. Look, Mags Wegner, I'll tell you what, I would love to be the person that gets called if you are going for the next job. And I have letter of recommendation, a video of recommendation. I want Christianity to win. I want goodness and truth to win, truly. Wanted to also, you guys know we have some new merch on the website. Really good new merch, New Year merch. You can visit, obviously, CandaceOwens.com. We also are selling a hard copy of our autographed bundle now. So you can get both of my books at the same time, available in the shop, Make Him a Sandwich and Blackout, both hand-signed by me. All right, let's get into the top comment from the last episode. This is from our French channel. We now have a French channel. It's blowing up, which is hilarious because I can't say any French words. I swear I was in AP French. You guys don't believe me because my French is also awful, but not anymore. Not anymore on the French channel. This person writes, a lot of completely crazy things are happening in France. Have you heard about the culling of cattle and herds called cattle depopulation here, supposedly to eliminate lumpy skin disease, a disease that currently affects cattle, but is not dangerous to humans? All this madness strongly reminds me of sacrifices. Yeah, we looked into this after you sent that note. Similar things are happening here, how they're trying to, they want all the farmland. They don't want us to be able to feed our families. And that's why the farmers, the ranchers, they're fighting the government right now. They're trying to squeeze them. There was also a story years ago about how they had poisoned the chicken feed, which I totally believe that happened. And all of these hens were not laying. It was a couple of years ago. I actually covered it when I was at the Daily Wire. And when we looked behind the company that was behind it, it was like Purdue, wasn't it? Am I just thinking it's Purdue because it's Purdue chicken? I don't know. Anyways, the point is that it was Big Pharma, which even controls what the chickens eat. And that's why I keep saying we've got to go the other way. We have to be super organic because it feels like they're catalyzing, introducing us to this dystopian future. That's how it feels like everywhere. Like Brigitte Macron is suing people for knowing the truth about crimes that she committed when she was a man. That's dystopian. That's a dystopian nightmare. You go to prison for knowing. Anyways, next comment, top comment from yesterday's episode on our this channel, says, why does it always end with child sex trafficking every single time? Lord, bring them down. Yeah. Lord, bring them down is correct. This story has way too much child sex trafficking in it. Charlie Kirk story, me looking into different people. It just keeps coming up. I mean, everyone is involved with the charity. It's like, it's weird. It doesn't make any sense. And it doesn't make me feel good about that. And of course, we will have more on that for you guys because we are prodding every single narrative. And I want to say we have accomplished a lot in just the last 3 months that Charlie has been gone, as they have mocked us, caricatured us, smeared us, maimed us. We, and I am including you guys in this because it was we, it's the tips. It's been all of us all over the world coming together. One person has a tiny bit of the story. I was here. I saw this. Here's a text message chain. Here, I'm a mommy sleuth and I have access to this. Oh, I work for this department and I can see this. All of us decentralizing intelligence and me just being willing to share what you guys are sharing with me is what is solving the mystery of what happened to Charlie Kirk on September 10th. We don't know, but we know. And soon we're going to know. We'll see you guys tomorrow.